right, there we go. The Marine being put into place. You can see that the hand of Nest Team must have been reaching down to get a Marine to be that much bigger than a Marine.
All right. Thank you, Artosis, for taking the intro. Had to finish my little meal before we get this game going because we are now moving on to the final match.
Who will go
MarineKing
up and who will go to Code A?
I don't know. We're going to have to see. I think this is going to be pretty interesting. I'd say MarineKing is a favorite here based off results, but you never know. Alive had a pretty impressive game back then. All right. The game is now loaded. It's time. We have MarineKing up against Alive. Let's go. Okay. All right. Glad I convinced you. They're twins. All right. We're ready. Thank you to our sponsors. Now on to this game. In the bottom left starting location, we have our Red Terran.
MarineKing, Pride!
MarineKing. He has a crazy number of cheers out here in this studio.
He really does.
I'm sure around the world as well. His opponent, perhaps the underdog, one of the favorite training partners for the pro scene.
TSL Alive!
And they're in what we call cross spots, so they're very far away. The Xel'Naga Watchtower will play a role, especially in the mid and late game, as they can control that. They can deny and also acquire. They can acquire their own gold base to deny their opponent from mining from theirs.
Well, we actually, to give you guys.
Oh, that's right.
Update,
I'm sorry. What am I saying? We don't even have a gold base on this map.
No,
that was taken out on old Antigua shipyard.
That is right.
Sorry.
You guys playing the ladder, of course, still has it.
So, anyways, it would allow them to control those minerals.
Absolutely. It's an important
Artosis,
point in this map.
This is time number 2 that I've dropped the ball.
Oh, Taste, it's okay, because every time you drop the ball, you pick it back up, and you know what they call that? They call it dribbling, Tasteless.
Ah, look what you did there.
Yeah.
That was too cute. So, MarineKing going for a quick command center. Alive, so far, I think a little bit more of what we'd say, the more common, what looks to be a fast expand build. Mm-hmm. Barracks first, then getting a command center.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that both players will go for a Marine Siege Tank against each other, as they are both players that really prefer that style. Now, I wonder if MarineKing might go for like one of these 5 barracks plays with his fast expansion here. You know, that's something that's kind of popular right now. It's a very powering play where you don't get gas until very, very late and still have some sort of control on the map. You can also threaten your opponent with it. So, I'm interested to see that, as well as, well, Alive is actually going to go ahead and double gas. So, we might see him tick right up into Banshee.
Well, it looks like we are going to have the command center coming up here. It'll be done soon. And this should be a pretty long game with these spots and these positions. Is MarineKing going to make more barracks?
I'm not
He has
sure
not taken his gas yet. I'm sort of waiting.
Yeah, I think
and he is. He's actually going to do his old school MarineKing build.
Well, you know, it's a very good build. Now, will he get the 5th barracks or not? It's completely up to him. His economy is looking sharp, Tasteless.
Yeah.
He's actually, funnily enough, he's down by 1 SCV at the moment. But he's not mining a gas, so his income on minerals is going to be far superior.
All right, so the question now is, how is Alive going to play this out? There's still a lot of different ways he can approach the game. We've seen MarineKing do this. This is like the pinnacle of MarineKing style play. This is actually how he got his ID, MarineKing, is because he was just so Marine-focused early on.
Yeah, he loves
and actually
Marines.
Even throughout the game.
He's the king of Marines, Tasteless.
He is. All the Marines have to refer to him as sire.
Duchess. Yeah, they better. Or he'll have them beheaded. He'll send them in to scout the tank line.
Oh, yeah. He'll get his nerd guillotine out.
You know, I always called it guillotine.
You called it a guillotine?
Of course.
Well, you know,
I also called Archons Archons forever.
Oh, that is cute. I actually just want to ruffle your hair, but you have all this hairspray.
No idea. I found out at a Starcraft tournament I said Archon when we were talking about Archons. Archons.
Oh my God!
And I called it Archon. They're like, what?
How old were you back then?
Ah, God, I had to be. I guess I was probably 19 or so when I found out that it was no longer Archon.
I always have this thing where I read a character's name in a book, but it's like a pretty complicated name, and I sort of just make a sound out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly.
And then when I start to talk about a character in the book to somebody else, the name kind of comes out as like Morgbon or something, and apparently it's like not that at all. It's completely different.
Happens to me a lot, Tasteless. Happens to me a lot.
I think actually it's pretty common. We're just not afraid to say it on TV.
That's right. I have no shame.
We just don't actually feel shame because it's a stupid emotion.
It's the dumbest emotion.
It's the dumbest,
Tasteless.
and it's coupled with guilt.
Well, they go hand in hand, Tasteless.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, don't feel those two emotions, guys. They're worthless.
Now we have the push coming out here from MarineKing, and this is the benefit that you get when you do a build like this. Note how he has about 5 in the front. That way, if an SCV is shot down, it won't look like there's a giant army coming, just a small number. But this is what he can do. He can move out into the middle of the map and dominate. But he's going to see everything like the Zelnaga Watchtower, so
he knows exactly what's coming for him, and he's going to be able to get into the correct defensive position because of it. I think he's actually going to have enough to hold this off anyways.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Actually, combat shields just finished. And no combat shields for Alive, so it could be a little bit scary, especially with Alive walking out. What are you doing, Alive? You're not going to be alive if you walk out there.
You're actually TSL dead.
He is going to have... There you go. Siege mode finishes.
That one Siege tank in a pretty scary position.
That's what we call the tasteless of time.
Is that what we call it?
Just in the tasteless of time.
Just in the tasteless of time. Just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Just in the nick plot of time.
See that? See what I did? All right. So we already have Siege tanks 4 alive, whereas MarineKing, he's getting his medevacs up. He's getting a ton of Marine production. He's going a lot later on the Siege tanks. And he used to not go Siege tanks in TBT against builds like this. I think we will see him do that, go Siege tanks here, though. The matchup has evolved too much, and if he does go Siege tanks, he's like asking for that.
So, MarineKing will continue to dominate the map here. And this is the benefit you get when you go for a very infantry-heavy army. And he's going to swap off the starport in the factory pretty soon here, get a reactor on that starport. And here comes the drop now.
I like this drop. He has stim already, so it can be very deadly, killing off a few SCVs at least. Oh, this is actually a beautiful drop. MarineKing taking a lot of damage right now, guys.
Yeah, he is not handling this drop well at all. No, he does not have stim yet, so it's hard to get under that medevac, but he does anyways. Alive dropping the ball just a little bit there, but hey, that drop was pretty effective. You got to give the guy credit there.
Yeah, he killed about 9 workers with that drop, Tasteless. That is pretty huge. And look at this, a nice little stim run-in, trying to pick off some more. Looks like he can't get it, so he's going to hightail it out of there, Tasteless.
Stimming and getting away, only losing 2 Marines and disrupting the mining. That was beautiful.
Yeah, completely worth the try. You know, he could have actually gotten, theoretically, 3-4 SCVs in there. Completely worth it. Completely worth it. So right now we do have 50 SCVs for Live, 43 for MarineKing. It's a big deal when you're both going such mineral-intensive builds, such as Mass Marines.
The supply is now evened out at 102 for both players. And again, it's a map where it's a little bit tough for Alive to move out with confidence. He has to be very sneaky. This is a lot of Marines from MarineKing. Just moving around the map.
Well, Alive right now has his second factory going up, so he's going to go for the quick 2 factory get in this. And I love that, man. It's good. That's a cool little switch up with this. Whereas MarineKing just now starting his siege tank production. Yeah,
so
in fact, he has 0
should be
siege tanks.
basically forever behind in siege tanks unless Alive makes a mistake.
But he is up by 20 Marines.
Yes.
And he's up by 2 medevacs. So he's going to have to use those 2 medevacs and 20 Marines somehow to his advantage. Realistically, he should be taking another expand. If he was going to go that many mobile, quick, reactive units, you need to take a quicker expand. You can't just sit 2 base against someone that's going the slower, more cost-efficient army. That doesn't make sense. If someone's going to be more cost-efficient than you, you have to have more resources than them.
All right, a scan here. Siege tank sieging up. And this is a nice move here by MarineKing. Get rid of those destructible rocks so that you can counterattack in there later. So much about Marine style is counterattack, but he needs to make sure he keeps that Marine army backing up very nicely.
Yeah, just in the tasteless of time.
That's right.
We do have the 3rd base going up for MarineKing. So still pretty good timing on that, as we don't have another command center started for Alive yet. And you know what? We might see a pretty sick timing attack from Alive here, because I don't see another command center. He's making a lot of siege tanks, and he's kind of defending at home from drops. You know, he has a decent amount of units in there, but he can actually hit an interesting timing here as long as he blocks and he drops off, because he does have that sensor tower where he could push across the map with his superior siege tanks and really get a strong containment on MarineKing. But as we see, he is opting for that third base instead.
Yeah.
Interesting choice to opt for the third base instead.
We've seen this a lot. There's a reason why Artosis loves mech above all other builds, and one of the reasons is because when you do mass marine like MarineKing's doing, eventually you're going to max out your supply, and it's going to be just marines. And of course, a ton of siege tanks, the amount of damage they can deal to all those marines, it'll destroy them in seconds. So we need to see MarineKing do something very sneaky.
Yeah.
Like drop as Alive pushes out, hide more bases, something, because with the siege tanks in there, unless he catches them when they're in the middle of unsieging, it's a tough battle to win.
Oh, absolutely. The siege tanks are just so much more cost efficient when you get into higher numbers. MarineKing is making siege tanks. He's getting his second factory as well, and nice drop there. And in the meantime, we're going to have MarineKing actually bungling his army, losing both siege tanks. Absolutely huge for Alive.
And now it's back to 1 siege tank to 10. Meanwhile, this drop barely held off by MarineKing.
Dude, 10 siege tanks to 1, 74 Marines to 73. I mean, right now, MarineKing is looking like he's crushed. This army is so infinitely better for Alive.
Here we go, sieging up, backing up, and that's what I'm talking about. The amount of damage that is dealt with those siege tanks out is monumental.
That is true, but let's take a look at the upgrades. 2-2 for MarineKing. 2-2 on the way for Alive, but not done yet. So Marines in open ground, of course, MarineKing is going to crush that, but with the siege tanks, I mean, upgrades don't even matter, man. They will crush through it so easily.
All right, he's going to destroy the rocks. This angle a little bit safer for him to go up.
I think MarineKing might die from this stasis. He's only got 3 siege tanks right now. There are so many for Alive, and this third base for sure is going down.
Well, his angling here with the Marines is pretty bad by Alive, but
yeah, he's got to be careful about that.
But it doesn't matter.
Siege tanks a little bit better.
Destroyed, completely destroyed here. And that's what we're talking about, guys. Siege tanks in the late game are very good. MarineKing style, a bit anachronistic. A bit of an anachronism here. You know, when you look at how the game is panning out, the metagame that is.
Siege tanks are the ultimate unit in this matchup, Tasteless, and MarineKing did not go for enough of them early enough, and now he's in a lot of trouble, but he does have some Vikings out here. He's still trying to fight back. He's way down on supply, way down on unit quality, way down on unit count, everything. And as these Marines move up, I mean...
I do feel like MarineKing has to move outside of his own comfort zone. You can't keep doing this. You really cannot keep doing this. I know
it's so inferior to what Alive did is the thing. It's just, it is completely inferior.
If you want to bust it out every once in a while, because that way you're not predictable, like stuff that MVP does, do it. Sure. But otherwise, I mean, I'm sure Alive saw the five barracks, I believe it was 5 or 4, and, you know, looked at it and said, okay, I've seen him do this before. All right, I guess I'm going to not attack you for a while and make siege tanks. And now we're seeing the result of that.
MarineKing even saw the last match of Alive where Alive went for the quick 2 factories in this matchup. If he had gone for just 1, and then the later second, like a lot of people do, then maybe MarineKing's build pans out a bit better.
Can't believe that medevac
you have to play the player, not just the game.
Yeah, you're dead on, Artosis. As you can see, reconnaissance on the way. And
trying to drop on siege tanks, but I mean, it's 88 supply to 149, 3 bases against 2. A non-stop rally of Marines and siege tanks coming across the map. Factories, siege tanks, everything being taken out.
He is just stuffing him.
Stuffing him?
He is stuffing him like it's Thanksgiving turkey.
Dude, he's goaltending this kid. But that ain't against the rules in Starcraft.
Well, guys, there's not a whole lot else to say. We're basically seeing MarineKing rocked. He's up against the ropes, and he should be KO'd any second now.
And he will be. We're going to see a GG pretty quick here. He continues to push. Looks like MarineKing wants to do a gigantic base trade with, like, he has more medevacs than Marines in the medevacs right now.
All right, goodbye, Orbital. All right, I'm going to turn around now in my chair, try to find the Brute MarineKing is in. I was not sure if he was still playing. All right. He's dropping now. And this is the last remnant of MarineKing's army. In the middle of the map, surrounded by everything that Alive has. It will not last, and he will not win.
No, he will not. That is for certain. Getting flanked now, and that's going to be it. We're going to have to see a GG
We
in a
have to
second.
see GG by then. Okay.
And unfortunately for all his fans, MarineKing will drop down to Code A. A little bit higher than Curious, but Alive moves on. So good work to Alive. He's been looking for this round of 16 for quite a while in Code S.
I got to say, Alive did deserve to move on.
Yeah, he had a completely superior strategy.
And look, I don't want to, dog on him too much, but he cannot keep doing that.
No, you can't
It's
just
this
go
mass
up your
barracks
Marines.
build. He cannot.
Especially when he has complete information. He saw a Marine opener by Alive in Alive's previous TVT. He saw that Alive, in fact, went quick double factory siege tanks. Normally you stand one factory a little bit longer. That's the type of thing that you watch during his match on that day, and you pick up upon that. That's like the most important thing to do, is to look at that and say, okay, this guy tends towards siege tanks a little bit quicker, more of them quicker than a normal Marine siege tank user. And if you don't pick up on that, then, man, you might just lose like MarineKing.
And you know what's sad about it is there was no plan with the mass Marine opening. There was no moment where you could see he was going to try to drop in there or hide bases. There was nothing. He just sort of sat around there, and it was almost... He was waiting for Alive to attack or something, and then he went, Alive's not going to do that. Alive's a good player. Alive is smart, and that's why Alive is moving on, and MarineKing is not.
Yeah. There you go. There you have it.
Did it.
All right.
End the show now, because that's it. All right, we're going to have we're going to take a look at the results. Excuse me.
Sick group of death. MVP coming out in first place. Alive from TSL in second. MarineKing going to take third, go to Code A, round of 32. And Curious, the winner of Code A last season. Code A, round of 48.
Jeez, man. Talk about hitting rock bottom there for your esports career. I mean, he is actually
painful.
Hanging on.
After winning
by
Code
a
A,
thread.
you feel like you might do something so well. When Lucero won Code A, he came into Code S and went to the finals or something, didn't he? Or was that 2 seasons later? But it might have been 2 seasons.
I think it was 2 seasons, yeah.
But anyways.
So we're going to have a 5-minute break, but when we get back, we're going to have the second half of today's Code S game, so stay tuned.